What's up, everybody, and welcome on in to the Anaheim Ducks post-game show here on the Halos in the Infield Network. Dominic of Catella Chronicles here with you. Happy Tuesday. Oh me, oh my, it has finally happened. The Ducks have snapped their 9-game losing streak in the most unlikely way possible. One, by multiple goals, a 3-1 win over the Dallas Stars, who are a powerhouse in the NHL, and doing it without 3 of their young stars. No Terry, no Cutter Gauthier, and no Leo Carlsson tonight. And the Ducks somehow will their way to victory. Holy Moses, what a game, what a night. Just carrying on over here, we were doing the Unfiltered Sports podcast with Todd, Maddie, Randy, our good buddy Rob. So I was watching the Ducks game on my phone, kind of on the side, kind of checking on in here and there. But a massive 3-1 win. We're kind of in shock, right? It's been a little while since the Ducks have felt those winning ways. This is the first win for the Ducks of 2026. The calendar is flipped, and we have a win. Hallelujah. Ducks get a win tonight, 3-1 over the Dallas Stars. Running solo tonight. Todd having some things done at the house, so he is focusing on family and house mechanics right now. So solo show tonight here, but we're going to go over the scoring breakdown. We're going to go on what worked for the Ducks tonight and how the Ducks, in their 3 meetings against the Dallas Stars this year, they are done facing the Dallas Stars, and the Ducks somehow win 2 of 3. Hopefully, this sets the Ducks on a better path moving forward. The last time I was on here, again, the holidays and the beginning of the year has been crazy scheduling. But since one of the last times I've been on here, the Ducks at a certain point were first place in the division. With this win tonight, now with 47 points, however, they have dropped to 6th place in the division. The Vegas Golden Knights have won 4 in a row. Edmonton has won 5 of their last 10 games. The Kraken have won 7 of their last 10. And right now, the space between 1st and 6th, where the Ducks currently reside, is at 7 points. So the Ducks 3.5 games out of first place behind the tied Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers. But no matter what, the Ducks had a chance to do something special tonight and snap the losing streak. And boy, do they ever. They finally get the job done and get that 3-1 win over a Dallas Stars team who is second in not only the Western Conference, but in the NHL. They were 27-10-9 coming into this game as the second best team in the NHL. The Ducks have a little grit, rely not only on their veterans, but a little bit on their youth as well. Again, 3 key pieces to this Ducks lineup were out. No Terry, no Uncle Leo, and no Cutter Gauthier tonight. And the Ducks somehow, some way find a way to get a win. As a 49er fan, we call that Dub City. Dub City tonight for the Anaheim Ducks. We fly together. Let's take a look at how this game broke down. Lukas Dostal in net for the Anaheim Ducks. And it was a scoreless first period, very quiet on all fronts. But it was the Ducks peppering Dallas early on, winning the shot total 12-7 in the first period. But in the second, the Ducks get the job done. They have the only goal scored in the second period. Chris Kreider picks up his 15th of the year. The former Dallas Star, Mikael Granlund, gets his 11th assist. And Radko Gudas gets his 8th assist of the year. 1-0 Ducks. The Ducks scoring first. Holy Moses, that doesn't happen very often. Also, you flip to the third period. The Ducks take a 2-0 advantage. Be still my heart. Beckett Seneca, the unassisted backhand goal, his 15th goal of the year, 2-0 Anaheim Ducks. Dallas would get on the board late in the third period as Hintz gets his 14th of the year, 2-1 Ducks. But it's the savvy veteran who, to me, has been the best defenseman so far this year, Jacob Trouba, nets the empty netter. Jackson Lacombe gets his 23rd assist. And boy, oh boy, that is the hockey game. The Ducks snap a losing streak. Do it without 3 key young components of their offense. They score first. They carry a double-digit lead. And they beat the second best team in the NHL. No one had that on that bingo card today, but how about that? The Ducks get the job done. Both teams tie with 25 shots on goal. Dallas wins the face-off battle. Nobody. The power play units awful tonight. 0 for 3 for Dallas, 0 for 2 for the Ducks. The Ducks out-hit Dallas. Dallas had more block shots. The Ducks had the least amount of giveaways, 20-16, and the Ducks very well on the forecheck. We're going to talk about the forecheck tonight because our good buddy Demetrio mentioned it. Why we won? Forechecking. Absolutely. When you don't have Carlson, Terry, and Gauthier, you're going to have to adjust in some way, shape, or form. And tonight, it was the forecheck that took a really big step in the right direction. And hopefully, that spears the Ducks off in a better direction as well. Ducks out shooting Dallas 12-7 in the first. Dallas out shooting the Ducks 10-6 in the second. They also outshoot the Ducks again in the third, 8-7, 25 combined goals for each team, 50 total on the night. But it was Lukáš Dostál, who this year, Dostál's had a rough slide. He's played a lot of these games during the 9-game losing streak. He was injured for an early portion of the season. It has not been the most consistent season for Lukáš Dostál tonight. However, to make 24 saves on 25 shots against the number 2 team in the NHL when your team is on a 9-game schneid, luckily they're at home. They're in front of the faithful at Honda Center. A lot of things are changing for the Ducks. They're on the rise. They hit a rough patch. We knew that big 7-game winning streak and scoring 7 goals a night was not going to last forever. And it took a massive hit mid-December up until tonight, until this win. That was hard. It was painful. And the Ducks have had to kind of look themselves in the mirror and know it's gut check time and you're going to have to step up in massive ways to get the job done. And no doubt about it, Lukáš Dostál stepped up in a massive way tonight. 24 saves on 25 shots and getting the 3-1 win. Forechecking is huge. The Ducks, I don't care if you got to shoot the puck X amount of times and score how many goals. Forechecking is such an essential part of being a successful hockey team these days. And again, the way the Ducks started the season, it was kind of flying by the seat of your pants, scoring 5, 6, 7, 8 goals a game and kind of doing all of the flashy offensive things. And they were kind of pushing the defensive way, saying, yes, we know we have defensive issues, but the scoring is helping in that case scenario. But for the Ducks tonight to forecheck the way that they did and just use size, right? Size matters. You know where I'm going with that. Size matters for the Ducks, right? Let's be honest here. And the Ducks, Jacob Trouba, for example, led that veteran leadership tonight on the defensive front for the Ducks to find a way to beat a very, very good Dallas Stars club. No doubt about it. Dallas they are a force to be reckoned with in the Western Conference. And who knows? If the Ducks find themselves in a wild card position instead of a top 3 division spot, whatever, you might have to face Dallas at some point in the playoffs if you get that far, or however the case may shake out in the postseason. But right now, the Ducks can't focus about the postseason. All you can do is focus on winning, snapping the 9-game losing streak, and putting some good games together. This really puts ourselves in a great spot 2 days off before a back-to-back against the crosstown rival freeway face-off LA Kings. Friday, January 16th, Saturday the 17th. On Friday the 16th, we're going to be at Noble Ale Works for our watch party with Todd, our good buddy Mikey of the Mighty Ducks Club. Royally Quack's going to be there. We're going to have so many people there. We're going to have a fun time. Come on down. Spend your Friday night with us. 7:30 when the Ducks get set to take on the LA Kings. And that'll be the first installment of Ducks hockey since this win. And the Ducks, starting on Friday, they're going to go through a massive stretch in this final portion of January. 2 against the Kings, 1 against the Rangers, then a road trip that's going to take them to Colorado, Seattle, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver. 4 games to finish off the month of January within your division. 6 of the next 8 games within your division. If there's any time for the Ducks to bounce back and fight their way back to a top spot in this division, or at least a top 3 positioning, this is the time to do it. You know, you got the Olympic break coming up in about 3.5 weeks, and everybody's going to be resting for, 2 to 3 weeks before getting back into March action. This is the time. These next 8 games are so crucial for the Ducks. Absolutely. You got to find ways to beat Calgary and Vancouver, who are below you in the standings. You got to get the monkey off your back against the Seattle Kraken. Edmonton's going to be, they're rising right now. They've kind of come out of the ashes a little bit. That's going to be a fun matchup. You already beat the New York Rangers once. You got to do it again. And you found a way to beat the Kings once and then get embarrassed at Staples Center. You got to back-to-back with them. You got to find a way to split it, if not take 3 points out of those 4-point opportunities in 2 games. The Ducks have 16 points available over the next 2.5 weeks. Man, oh man, because of that 9-game losing streak, you got to feast more than you got to famine. And if the Ducks can somehow get 12 out of those 16 points, that'll set them up massively moving forward towards the Olympic break. But glad to have you along with us on the Anaheim Ducks post-game show, the one and only Anaheim Ducks post-game show anywhere besides the Ducks on Victory Plus. This is where the podcasts do it. It's myself, typically Todd. We got the crew together here for the Anaheim Ducks post-game show this season. And tonight is a good night. As it says on the bottom on the scroller, on the ticker moving across, Ducks snap losing streak. The 9-gamer schneid is to the wayside, and the Ducks get the job done tonight. Absolutely a great way to get the win tonight. Goals scored from Chris Kreider, Beckett Seneca, and Jacob Trouba, the empty net variety. Lukasz Dostal, 24 saves and 25 shots. And the point I want to emphasize the most tonight as I look at minutes on the ice, no Terry, no Carlson, no Cutter Gauthier tonight. To me, I had this as a loss. Dallas is such a good team. You have 3 of your best players out. Man, oh man, people stepped up. People stepped up. You had Harkins who had to step up tonight. You had Wash had to step up. You had Strome, who's had a rough season. Nestorenko, who was put on waivers but was kept. Then on the defensive side, you had Moore and Hellison that haven't had great seasons, but they had to step up in big ways. And most importantly, the veteranship on this team had to step up the most. Gudas, Trouba, Strome, Killorn, Kreider, and McTavish. They had to be the guys that held this team down, and they did it tonight. Absolute great work from the Ducks. Lukasz Dostal, I've said it once, I'll say it again. He's had a rough go, an absolute rough go during this 9-game losing streak and since his injury. He found a way to be the good old-fashioned Lukasz Dostal that we love. 24 saves and 25 shots gets the job done. You know how we do it. I completely forgot. We're going to say it one more time because I didn't give out the goal horns. 3 goals. No goals scored in the first period, but in the second, Chris Kreider. 1-0 Ducks. When do the Ducks get out to a lead? That's 1 point to talk about. Then they get out to a 2-0 lead. 15th of the season. Then Dallas gets a goal. But the Ducks battle. They stay strong on the forecheck. They stay strong defensively. Dostal keeps them in the game. And what does Trouba do from Jackson Lacombe? Empty netville, baby. 3-1 Ducks. Honda Center is rocking. And the vibes are immaculate right now with the Ducks snapping that 9-game losing streak. And you hope this is the time for the Ducks that shoots them out of that funk. And if you have a game like this and you add Carlson, Terry, and Cutter Gauthier back, can the Ducks do something special these next 8 games to wrap up the month of January in a positive manner and trending back up towards the Pacific standings? What we do now, if you're just joining us, 3 stars of the game. Ducks win. What do we got? It freaking happened. The Anaheim Ducks snapped the 9-game losing streak. beat the Dallas Stars, the second best team in the National League. I can't believe it. It's fun. It's amazing. Let's get to our 3 stars. The number 3 star of the game. To me, veteran presence was a big part of this game. I'm going to give the 3rd star of the game to Mikael Granlund. He had an assist in this game. He had 3 shots on goal. He set the tone. He had to bump up a couple of lines. Again, you're filling in for the guys that have gotten the job done so far and so many times this season. The Karlssons, the Terrys, the Cutter Gauthiers. Out for tonight, but find a way to get the job done. I'm going to give some love to Mikael Granlund. 2 star of the game. Chris Kreider gets the goal scoring started. He has revived his career coming over from the New York Rangers now to our Anaheim Ducks, and he set the tone. Another veteran presence that gets the goal, sets the tone, and gets the job done for the Ducks. He's our 2 star. And at the number 1 slot, give me a little Lukas Dostal. 24 saves in 25 shots. You couldn't ask for a better game from Dostal. He has looked, can I say it, awful. Absolutely awful over the last couple of weeks. And some of it has been his fault. Some of it has been the defenseman's fault. But he finds a way to gut check time, get the job done, and step up in a big way for Joe Quenneville and this staff. So the number 3 star Granlund, 2 Kreider, 1 Dostal. Let's put it in a blender and also check on the other side. Who is our hoser of the night? Because you know what's going to the opponents. The hoser of the night going to the player on the ice that did not perform that great or was downright awful. Tonight, looking up and down the box score for the Dallas Stars, when the Ducks, again, who are missing Terry, Gauthier, and Karlsson, find a way to chill out Mikko Rantanen to no goals, no assists, and only 1 shot on goal in over 23 minutes on the ice. Mikko Rantanen in 45 games this year has 18 goals and 44 assists, 62 points, and a +5 on the ice. The Ducks tonight find a way to silence Mikko Rantanen and get the job done. Great work. Hoser of the night, Mikko Rantanen. The Ducks, I would say, is this. You look back at this 9-game losing streak, they had opportunities, right? Kind of made the rally in Buffalo on Saturday, couldn't quite seal the deal. Battled with Washington, battled with Philly, battled with Carolina, but nothing went their way. You flip it even back to December. Overtime loss to Tampa Bay. Okay, you got a pity point. Shouldn't have lost to San Jose. Shouldn't have lost to the Kraken. There were some bad games involved. But anytime you can get a win like this against a very talented team in the Dallas Stars, the Ducks cannot take that for granted. You have to look at the film, figure out what worked, and you need to shove it up the ass of the LA Kings in the next 2 games. It's a home and home back-to-back. Is Dostal going to get game 1? Is he going to get game 2? My guess, Dostal is going to go on the road to Staples Center, and Ville Husso will get the home game on Saturday. That's my prediction, especially off this performance against the Dallas Stars tonight. Dostal will be the number 1 guy and lead this team to battle on the road in a hostile environment like Staples Center. The Ducks need it, and they need it bad. The Kings are right above them in the standings with 48 points. If you look overall, because I'm going to check in on the Kings schedule, because overall, when you look and say, what has gone wrong for the Ducks? And it's been so many things. You have to take the small moral victories. And you have to take what has gone right in these losses and what you need to continue to improve on. To me, what has still been a bright spot this season through the wins and through the losses, I still backpedal to the youth, right? The Seneca, Karlsson, Terry, McTavish, you want to consider him young, Olen Zellweger, Cutter Gauthier. 3 of those guys were out tonight. Terry's been out the last couple of games. The veterans have had to step up, and I said it. going into that Olympic break and at the latter stages of this season when it's going to matter, these veterans are going to have to step up. They may be voices in the locker room and supporting these younger cast members. They need to show it. Tonight was that night. And if this is the switch that turns on and now we have that even balance of youth and veteran, Pat Verbeek sees that and says, hey, we're going to add to this roster. The Ducks need to add at the deadline. No doubt about it. The first Friday or the first week of March, right after the Olympic break, is the deadline. The Ducks need to, I don't care about draft picks. We've drafted well. I want results now, especially right now being ahead of the curve. I think the Ducks need to go for it. Maybe not sell the farm, but make 1, 2, maybe even 3 moves that can benefit this team moving forward and really make this a true cohesive bunch. We know this team is tight. We know the relationships that all of these players have with each other. The Ducks are always a tight unit. There's never really dissension in the ranks of bad personalities or anything else. And Caesar, you make an absolute perfect point. You can't rebuild forever. Absolutely. There's a balance. And I think the balance to me is the Ducks are ahead in their rebuild, right? We've been rebuilding for the last couple of years, and we're seeing the fruits of the labor now. And what we saw in October and November was tantalizing. It was sweet. It was winning. It was first place. And even early on, early on in this losing streak, even though we were losing, we were still top 3 in this division. It wasn't until about a week or so ago where things started to shift poorly because Vegas started winning. The Kraken started winning. Edmonton got hot. Kraken have won 7 of their last 10. Edmonton and Vegas have gotten points in 7 of their last 10. Kraken win 9 in their last 10. That changes the complexity of this division, right? So that buffer the Ducks had, which really wasn't a buffer because Vegas was with us neck and neck all season long thus far. The Ducks need to win now. They see it. They know even if getting to the playoffs is a win within itself, having that experience in a first round of the playoffs, regardless if you move on or go home, can prove so much to this young core of the Ducks for future seasons. To me, if the Ducks even make it to the playoffs this year, this furthers them going forward. And I could see with pieces adding in the cap space that we have, if the Ducks can just get to the playoffs this year, the experience that they will gain, I think they win a playoff series the following year. And you build those gradual steps. That's the rebuilding I want. I want the rebuild through results. Does it make sense? Please tell me it makes sense, because I know for me it makes sense. If you can rebuild through results and learn from what you've done and not wait to learn from what is given to you from the front office through drafts and different things, it's a completely different element. If you, again, I don't like using moral victory. However, if the Ducks can make the playoffs and even just win 1 game, we all know playoffs are a completely different beast from the regular season. It is freaking your toughest rivalry matchup in the toughest spot that you've ever been in on freaking steroids. And especially if you play teams like Colorado, Dallas, Vegas, those seasoned teams, you can learn on the ice, the Leo Carlsons, the Troy Terrys, the Cutter Gauthiers, the Mason McTavishes that have never tasted the playoffs ever. What you can learn from being on the ice against teams that have been there. You can see what the Avalanche makes so successful. You can see what Vegas makes so successful. You can see even when it comes to East Coast teams, what makes them successful. Caesar, I agree with you, and that's the point I'm making as well. If Anaheim reaches the playoffs, even a win is playing with house money. Yes, indeed. When you're above where you should be at this point of the season. No one had the Ducks being in first place for as long as they did. No one had the Ducks competing, winning 2 out of 3 against Dallas, so far taking both matchups against the freaking Vegas Golden Knights, knocking out New Jersey, who's a top team, a couple of times, doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. Should they have beaten Vancouver? Should they have at least split so far from the Kraken? Should they have lost to San Jose? Probably not. That's a different story for a different day. But I would absolutely love to see the Anaheim Ducks get to the playoffs. Even if they don't win their first round matchup, they're going to gain so much experience for these young guys that have never played in a playoff game before. Brooke, I agree with you. I would kill to even play a playoff game with this team. Healthy, by the way, healthy Ducks team. Because, a playoff team without Leo Carlsson, Cutter Gauthier, and Troy Terry would just be sad, right? But like tonight felt like a playoff game. And you saw it from the veterans. The number 2 team in the NHL came into your building. You didn't have 3 of your workhorses, and you outworked them 3-1 with great forechecking, great goaltending. If the Ducks can carry this over to the next 8 games to finish out the month of January, out of 16 potential points, God, if the Ducks could get 10 to 12 points out of that, that would be massive. Win 5 of 8. And especially those games late in the month, they're against divisional teams. The 2 against the Kings, Edmonton, Vancouver, Seattle. Ducks got to get it. This is the time. If the Ducks want to right the wrongs from this 9-game losing streak, it has to be these next 2.5 weeks, because 6 of 8 games are against divisional teams. Let me say it again. 6 of 8 are against divisional teams. If you want any hell of a chance to get back in this division, you play and you win. And can I add on to that, please? I know you guys are watching along, and I thank you guys for watching along to the one and only Anaheim Ducks postgame podcast, anywhere that you can find right here on the Halos in the Infield Network. When the calendar flips to February, it's still divisional hockey. I'll be at this game Sunday, February 1st at home against Vegas. And then what's the last game before the Olympic break? Oh, at home against the Kraken. 8 of your final 10 games before the Olympic break are all within your division. That is where the phrase belt to ass needs to be a factor in the Ducks locker room right now. You need to put belt to ass over the next 10 games. I know Colorado and New York Rangers are the 2 non-divisional games. Colorado's going to be tough on the road. New York Rangers at home, that's got to be a win. But the Ducks need to find a way in those 8 divisional games to win 6. You got to win 6 or win 4 or 5 and get some pity points and get to overtime. But you need to slug it out. Belt to ass. And I know Joe Quenneville is going to bring that energy. And hopefully Troy Terry coming off of injury. And Uncle Leo, who's been kind of touch and go lately. Cutter Gauthier getting the night off. Jesus, I'm feeling you. Finish up strong this month and reverse the losing streak. Absolutely. If the Ducks can win, to me, what would be a moral victory that puts this team in the right direction? You just had a 9-game losing streak where you got 1 point during that 9-game losing streak in the overtime loss to Tampa Bay. In these next 10 games, the Ducks, to me, what I would consider successfully reversing the 9-game losing streak. Of course, win 9 in a row, completely black it out. The Ducks need to win 6 out of these 10. For sure. That's 12 points in the bag. That would put the Ducks within the division, 12 points plus 47 at 59 points. Anything more than that is great. Now, maybe I jinxed them. Back in mid-December, I said right before the losing streak, I said, if the Ducks could be over 50 points going into January 1, that would put us at a great point, at a great stretch. I'm going to put the gauntlet out. Are you ready? By the time we go to the Olympic break in Italy, in Milan, the Ducks need 60 points. 13 points in your next 10 games. That is 13 points out of a possible 20. That would equate to 6.5 wins out of 10. That needs to be doable. Let me rephrase that. That's not doable. That is a must. If you want to put belt to ass against these divisional teams, you need at least 13 points in the next 2.5 weeks. 3 weeks, I should say. Between now and February 3rd over the next 10 games, with 8 being against your division teams, put bell to ass, put some separation, hop the Kings, hop the Sharks, hop the Kraken. You play the Kings twice, the Kraken twice, and the Canadian teams one apiece. And Vegas. Get to work. What we saw tonight from the forecheck has to be how the Ducks move forward. Off the pedestal I come, because I know you're feeling it. Take a deep breath. Let it soak in that we snapped a 9-game losing streak. It says right there on the bottom of the screen, Ducks snap losing streak. A 3-1 win over the powerhouse Dallas Stars. And the Ducks take 2 of 3 in their season series against the Dallas Stars. That's even impressive to me. They got a big win in Dallas. They got blown out at home, but then they finished strong against the Dallas Stars this season. A 3-1 win. Goals from Kreider, Seneca, and Trouba tonight. Your 3 stars of the game. Granlund in the 3 spot. I thought he had a great game on the ice, stepping up. Kreider in the 2 slot. And Lukáš Dostal, our goalie. He's had a rough season, but he has a big night tonight. 24 saves and 25 shots. Keeps the Ducks alive and gets the job done. Great night for the Ducks. Great night to have a win. Hopefully this spurs the Ducks in the right moment. And mark this moment right now on January 13th. The Ducks need at least 60 points in the standings going into the Olympic break. It's got to be done. That's 13 points out of the next 20 available points. Get more. Win 7 of 10. Go on a little streak. Kind of erase. Take a little pencil and erase that 9-game losing streak. If the Ducks can make that 9-game losing streak feel like a 3 or 4-game losing streak when all is said and done, I can take that from a team that's still the trajectory of this team still going up, but we're playing with house money. I can take that. I would be okay with that. Not loving it, but I'll take it. But for you guys, the fans, thank you so much for supporting the Halos in the Infield page in this Anaheim Ducks post-game show, the one and only post-game show here that covers your Anaheim Ducks. Myself, Dominic Lorenz of Catella Chronicles. You can follow us on Instagram at Catella_CHRON. That's the spot where you want to be for all your Ducks coverage. My co-podcaster / Anaheim Ducks post-game show co-host, Todd Fox, out tonight for some family stuff. He'll be back moving forward. We will be at the live watch party at Noble Ale Works down the street in Anaheim Friday, 7:30. Ducks versus Kings freeway face-off, the first of these 10 games and the front end of a back-to-back. Be there, watch the game with us. We're going to have the podcast going, have some great food, have some great drinks at Noble Ale Works. They are a massive sponsor here of us here on the program, and we hope you go out and promote them as well. But thank you guys for supporting the page tonight. Ducks get a win 3-1 over the Dallas Stars, and the Ducks snapping that 9-game losing streak in the win column as we battle back to try to get back to the top of the Pacific Division standings. But it all starts Friday on the road against the Kings. Looking forward to seeing you at Noble Ale Works here on the post-game shows throughout. And until then, I'm Dominic Lorenz of Catella Chronicles and of this Anaheim Ducks post-game podcast page for the Anaheim Ducks. Man, it's fun. It's great. This season's just getting started. We've had some high moments. We've had some low moments, but we're turning it around, and we still support our Anaheim Ducks. We love you guys. Ducks fly together. Keep on supporting the page here at Halos in the Infield, and we look forward to seeing you the next time around for this Anaheim Ducks post-game show. Be happy. Be healthy. Cheers, Ducks fans. Ducks fly together, and we'll talk to you on Friday for the first part of the Freeway Face-Off, a part of the back-to-back home and home series. Good night, everybody.